into our lesson. We've been talking about, and we closed down the month on initiative and leadership. And it's really about learning where you want to go, taking the initiative and where you want to go, and taking responsibility. You will never initiate or engage a thing unless you believe it's possible. But once you think something is possible, you'll begin to engage life. You begin to engage yourself and take action to things you want, unless it's something you really don't desire. So it's really important to know the difference in consideration of yourself and the things you're dealing with, because that's all you can deal with is yourself and the things to be dealt with. Meet the thing that you desire and grow. Meet the things that you want to accomplish and move in that direction. If you don't, you stack another belief on top of the existing belief that it's not possible. And this is the way we carry on our lives. Life is not something that we fall into, life is something we create, we unfold, we manifest. And we must experience. But this is how we go beyond. It's either that or we conform and we stay where we're at. And if we conform and stay where we're at, we won't be happy for very long. And this is just the nature of causation, of wanting to be more than what you are, desiring to have more than what you have, because your spiritual side of your nature knows it's more than what it is. And when your higher nature calls upon growth, eventually you answer. But normally the quickening of that action is far beneath what you could have done. When the desire is big enough, you will move. When the desire is big enough, you will lead yourself. I'm going to play this video and we'll come back to the lesson. It's about determining and understanding the direction you're going, but also knowing who you are. And if you don't know who you are and the way you work, you get stuck. And this happens time after time after time. For some reason, we're not getting audio through here. Give me 1 second. Maybe we'll have to get out. There we go.
Xanax movie, The Razor's Edge, and who was his stand-in. I know who it is, and it's not coming to me. Came to money, I was take a look at my results. And he got me to think. This is our thinking mind. He got me emotionally involved in an idea. He asked me if I ever read anything, and I said, no, I can't read. Now, that was not true. I could read. But because I never did read, and I didn't like reading, I said, I can't read. People that don't read are usually people that aren't interested in anything. People that do read are usually very interested in something. And they'll either read on that subject or read a multiplicity of subjects because they got broad interest in their life. Well, Ray got me to stop and take a look at my results. I was not a very happy guy. I wasn't the healthiest cat in town. And when it came to money, I was always broke. Always. And I was blaming it on the fact that I had not gone to school. I only had 2 months high school. I had no business experience. And he pointed out to me, he said, that's why, Bob, that's why you can't. He said, did you ever think of how you could? That's a razor's edge different, isn't it? It's as fine as a razor's edge. It's just the flip side of the coin. And you know, I don't need to go through the whole story. He got me interested in the idea that's in this book. He got me to sit down and decide what I wanted and got me to write it on a card. And he got me to stretch my mind and get a big idea going. And he got me to get emotionally involved in it. Now, how did that happen?
Just tap on it again, Bob. It'd be okay. Tap on it. There we go.
So good to have you here, Scott. Okay. Now look it. Same 5 senses. But he got me studying, and I found out about perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. What he got me studying is my marvelous mind. And he got me to understand that this was universal intelligence. And he helped me understand, although it was a huge idea, that this part here, he said, there's a part of you that's a part of everything else, Bob. Your subconscious mind is universal intelligence. He says, you're hooked up to this whole universe. Now, did I understand that? I didn't understand what the hell he was talking about. But I can say to you today, here's the phone. Scott's on here on this call. This is how he's communicating with me. He is in Manchester, England. Dolly, you're not invited to this. She doesn't understand she's not invited to the seminar. But this phone is here. Scott's in Manchester, England. And how far are we apart? This phone and me, that's how far we are apart. Somebody come up with this magnificent idea. We didn't always have this idea. We didn't have this idea when Ray introduced me to this book. We couldn't have done what we're doing now. That did not exist in our vocabulary and our way of thinking, but it existed here in universal intelligence. You see? It existed there. So I had to start to learn something about universal intelligence. And I had to understand that my subconscious mind and universal intelligence are all the same thing. When you tap into your subconscious mind, you are tapping into all it is. Now, I'm just putting some lines here and taking those lines out of it. Now let's keep thinking. Let's keep looking at this. That was when I was 26. Now I am 86. Okay? What have I gained? I have learned how to use these higher faculties: perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. I had them all then, but I didn't know how to use them. Now, if you've ever been in a seminar I'm in, you know that I am a very intuitive guy. I can walk by you and I'll tell you all kinds of things about you. I could shock you what I know about you. And if I've never met you before, how can I tell you? I can read your energy. I can read your energy. If I can read your energy, you can read my energy. And you're probably a razor's edge away from learning it. See, some of you think that I'm different than you. You think I'm different than you because I'm the chairman of a company that operates all over the world. I earn millions of dollars. I'm no different than you. I am absolutely not different than you. You have all these higher faculties too. You see, Ray got me to really think. I want you to really think. The difference between 26 and 86 is as fine as a razor's edge. You say, my God, Bob, there's 60 years difference there. Well, that's what it would appear. It's not so. That's an illusion. Do you know what I'm doing now, you can be doing now? There's no end to what we can do. We don't really believe that. There's such a fine line separating you from everything that you want that you're missing it. This is just a big idea, I told you, and you probably have difficulty with it. Look here. That's your subconscious mind. It still is. It hasn't changed. Okay? We call it universal subconscious mind. It's universal intelligence. That part of you is a part of me. That's why telepathic communication works. We communicate with each other telepathically. It's going on all the time. You go to phone somebody and on the other end you say, oh, what a coincidence. Is it really? There's no coincidence. There's only things we don't understand. Now, just me rubbing out that line, that could change your whole perception of your life. It's simple little things that make the big difference. Listen, I picked up this book. I started to read it, and I made a commitment that I would read it every day. I read it every day. Not very much. I'll show you how I read it. Some days I'm in a rush, and I'll just come in and just go like this here. Many philosophers have made the statements that man is the master of his own earthly destiny, but most of them have failed to say why he is the master. The reason that man may be the master of his own earthly destiny, and especially his financial status, is thoroughly explained in this chapter. Man may become the master of himself and of his environment because he has the power to influence his own subconscious mind, and through it gain the cooperation of infinite intelligence. Now, isn't it strange that I would open the book right there? Now, it was not planned, it's just opened. I'd read that, and then all of a sudden when I read that, I'm not quite as busy as I was. And I stop and I'll think on that for a while. And I'll think, damn, that's a big idea. Now that was, let's say, October 1961 that he got me reading it. Do you know that in less than a year, I was earning tens of thousands of dollars. When I picked up the book and I started to read it, I made up my mind I would do anything that was honest to earn money.
Takeaways? What are we learning about the lesson? What are we taking away? When we look at this image, we're looking at ourselves. What are you doing today? Up here is our senses. We pick up information from the senses. You can hear me. Some of you listen. The people that listen move to learning. The people that hear do nothing with it. Do nothing with it. With what? It's perfect power. This energy is power. The people that just hear do nothing with it. What is it? Perfect power. The people that do not take action do not learn. The people that do learn. If you're here just for intellectual purposes, all you do is get more intellect, more memory. But if you're here to learn, to listen and learn, learning means doing. And until you start doing, you don't learn. You know about it. If you're simply here just to pick up more information, all you do is pick up more information and do nothing with it. If you're listening to this broadcasting and you're just here just to hear, but you're not determined to do anything with this information, it goes right into your body, taps on cells of recognition. You hear me, but the energy that's going to your body is the same old energy. And that old energy is what tells your body what to do. And here in about an hour, you're off to doing what you do. And what you normally do is what's sending that signal directly into your brain and body, and you keep getting more or less the same results. When you hear, you do nothing with it. What is it? Perfect power. What is that perfect power? Spirit. What is the mind? Entanglement. Mind is entanglement. What is entanglement? With prior intelligence, prior ideas. When you look at all of your ideas, it is spirit mind entangled with intelligence. That's why you keep giving life and a sequence of events, and you keep doing what you're doing. If you're not here to change, you don't want to listen and learn. Learning means doing something completely different. You will not learn these lessons. When you learn to do something different, to become something different, that's when you're learning. That changes you. The new energy, a goal, a new energy in a new direction. It is the expression of the ideas that you learn. And that's what changes your energy. When you leave here in an hour, 2 hours, and you go back to what you normally do, you didn't learn anything. Because you're simply going right back to what you know. If you don't put a goal further than what you know, and you don't act on that goal, you become more of what you are. You don't change. I know a lot of people that say, I want more, I want to achieve more, I want to have more. But they're not willing to learn. The learning comes in the doing. If you follow the same strategy for another year, you get another year of the same results. If you keep doing what you're doing another 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you learn the lesson over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. 5 years of reasoning. With what? What you already know. Nothing changed. A lot of people say, well, I don't know what to do. They keep saying, I don't know what to do with this perfect power. Why wouldn't you know what to do with this perfect power? If it's perfect, why wouldn't you become anything with it? I don't know what to do. Why don't you choose? Choose, select, choice. Select what you want. Why wouldn't you select what you want? Why wouldn't you choose to live the way you want to live? When your ego is too big, you don't need to learn. No need to learn. When the ego is too small, it cannot learn anymore. It doesn't believe it can go any further. When you don't need to hear, you don't need to listen, you don't need to study, you don't need to pick up books, you don't need to repeat, you don't need to change. The ego is too big. You don't need to change. When the ego is too small, it doesn't believe it can change. Where are you at in this process? You project yourself to the world. and you experience your ideas. You must, by law, experience your ideas. What you see outside of you is an expression of what's going on inside of you. All reflections. If you're working with a group, you're working with the group reflections. All ideas. When you're working with a family, you're working with family ideas. Are they too big? We don't need to learn more. Learning means doing. Do you need to know more? Or do you need to learn more? You will never find the learning until you start doing. It's the learning that changes you. It is the learning that changes you to act and behave as you would have never have behaved. You see, goals are not to get, they're to grow. And it's as you start doing, you start learning, and it's the learning that changes you. When you start to act and behave as you would have never have behaved, you're learning new cells of recognition. You're developing yourself to go beyond what you've ever been. And you're causing this body to act and behave as it would have never have behaved. And as you cause that body to act and behave as it would have never have behaved, you begin to experience a new reality, something you would have never have experienced without that goal. But if you take that body and you keep doing what you know, you don't experience anything different. Actually, you repeat the old lessons over and over again. Same job, same people, same illustrations of consciousness. They're all stuck too. I've seen this over and over again. Everybody there is stuck. Not because they can't do more. The ego is stuck. That awareness has gone as far as it knows what to do. Ego's too big, ego's too small. Somewhere between, you find its spiritual consciousness. That's the thing that would actually take you completely out of both of those scenarios. It would know that it's not the body and it's not its ideas, it's just been using them. That power is perfect. And you're the demonstration of that power. But you're demonstrating that perfection through ideas, habits, behaviors, beliefs. And most of it's not even yours. It was something you learned from someone else. If you want to win and you want to win big, you've got to change yourself. If you want to experience the life that you desire, you've got to bet on you. You've got to get in these programs. You got to develop yourself. You got to learn how to set goals. You've got to learn how to achieve goals. You've got to learn to get uncomfortable. And you got to learn to grow. You don't have a choice other than to be what you are. Or struggle along life, experiencing more or less the same. Struggle is ignorance, lack of understanding. And sometimes we put ourselves there. But the only way to go beyond that struggle is to willing to learn to act and behave as you would have never have behaved. Setting a goal, setting a timeline, creating a plan, working towards that plan. How many more days do you want to experience the same life? How many more days do you want to experience Same people. How many more days do you want to experience the same lifestyle? When will you decide to change? That's why we're here every week. For the people that are ready and willing to bet on themselves. When will you bet on yourself? Is today the day? Is today the day that you'll make a decision to begin to change yourself? And it's got to be a committed decision. There's a difference between interested and committed. When you're interested, you don't change. You weren't there to change. You were interested. But when you're committed, you take immediate action and you begin to change. You see, it's the commitment that creates immediate action. It's the interested that creates no action. When you're committed, you do everything it takes. You're not going back. It's a decision. Alters the pattern plan. Where do you want to be in a year from now? Who do you want to be in a year from now? Which side of the fence are you on? What is it that you want to become? How do you want to experience? What's the difference Bob was talking about here? 60 years of consciousness expressing itself. He had decided that he was going to create a company that operated around the world before anything was even possible, before there was any sign of that possibility. He took a pen and he wrote it down. He didn't know how he was going to go there. But it's a simple act of making a decision that I'm going there and there's a place. It's a simple act of deciding. It is a simple act, but it has to be a determined action. Determined imagination must center itself and view the world from that state. When you're determined to create the life that you want, there is no tomorrow. You realize there is no tomorrow. There's only today and right now. There is no tomorrow. It's what you do today, right now. Because what you commit to doing today and right now has to be the new image, and it has to be the new actions. That's why if you're interested, it's got to be today and right now. When you're interested, you're not going to change because that was never the commitment. When you're committed, you change right now. There is no tomorrow. Because when tomorrow arrives, you're still the same person. A lot of people miss it. If you say, I'll do it tomorrow or I'll do it later, there is no tomorrow. There's always only been here right now. The past, it's already gone. And there is no future. It's always here right now. Because when you arrive tomorrow, You'll be again here right now, now here. You're going nowhere. The only thing that could travel through time is your imagination. The only thing that it can experience tomorrow is your imagination. And when you arrive, if you're the same person and you still didn't make that committed decision, you'll be in the same exact place that you were today. There is no tomorrow. There's only here and now. There always was. There only can be. So it's what you're committed to change and learn and become here and now that you can experience. I remember looking at different jobs, different positions. There is no tomorrow. How did I get to those jobs and positions? I started to act here and now. And if you start to act here and now, make a committed decision and act here and now, every day, all day long, you unfold a different reality. But if you do not act here and now, you're just interested. You're not committed. And you experience more or less the same tomorrow. Any thoughts, takeaways? Like a couple more minutes of this video.
Money, because I was broke. He said, Bob, you can earn all you want. And some guy said there's good money cleaning floors. I said, I am not proud. I'll clean floors. Now, that attitude has stayed with me right up to today. I always say to people, if I've got to carry the boxes, I'll carry the boxes. Get your pride and your ego the hell out of the road. Do what has to be done to accomplish what has to be accomplished. Quit playing games with yourself. You're probably just an inch away from something absolutely phenomenal, but you're not thinking. You've got to start thinking. Start to play with this universal subconscious mind. It's a part of everything, and a part of everything is in me. So when I start holding an image of what I want, and I start to get emotionally involved in that image, some marvelous things start to happen in my life.
It's the experience that changes you. Willing to learn more than what you know changes you. It's the learning that changes you. But it is actually the experience of learning to act and behave as you would never have behaved that changes you. This awareness after the experience is what continually changes you every time. The only time. If you have to rewind that again, look at it again. It is the experience of acting and behaving like if you had to have never have behaved. It is the experience of acting and behaving as you would have never have behaved that creates the learning. And it is the learning that brings more of awareness. And as you continually do more than what you know, you receive more learning, more understanding. And it's the continued effort of experiencing what you don't know that turns it into learning power, creative power. And if you're not willing to do that, you must by law stay more of what you are. Are you here because you're interested? You're not going to go anywhere different. But if you're here because you're committed and you're going to take actions, things will start to change. Take a look at what we're doing. Send us a message. Let us know when you're committed. Thank you guys, and everyone have a wonderful day.
And same to you.
Thank you. Great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Great day.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.